Picture this for me. It's 2016, your family is arguing about the election in the other room, and you're browsing the Nintendo 3DS eShop looking for an inexpensive game to buy with your last couple dollars. Then, after going through all the Operation Cobras, you finally find the one that actually looks worth your money, and that one is Ice Station Z. Ever get the urge to play a first-person shooter on your Nintendo 3DS? Besides that, Ice Station Z, the video's about Ice Station Z. Ice Station Z is a third-person zombie survival game released in late 2016 by Wobblytooth, a solo game developer who made Minecraft work on 3DS before Minecraft on 3DS was a thing. I discovered this game one night when I was browsing the eShop a few years ago and was instantly obsessed with it. My brothers and I all had this game on our 3DSs, and it was perfect for back in the day. It offered a decent single-player mode and a hilariously good multiplayer experience, all on the go. Plus, it was super inexpensive at around $4, which made it super accessible to a bunch of broke 13-year-olds. And while it wasn't the most impressive graphically, none of us really cared that much because we had so much fun playing it together. And also, it's not like we were expecting to be blown away by the cutting-edge graphics of the 3DS. Now, you might be wondering why I'm going on and on about this game that released 5 years ago. Well, I'm happy to say that the game has been adapted for the Nintendo Switch, being released on November 18th. So today, let's go over it and see how it compares to the 3DS version. Starting out with the features that stayed the same, you start out in the middle of a forest with only a phone, and the temperature is just barely warm enough to keep you from freezing to death. There is a cutscene in this version explaining why this is, and it plays every time you start a new game, but fortunately you can skip it. Your goal is to look for outposts that contain supplies like food, water, and medicine and stay alive for as many days as possible. But you'll have to keep your guard up because there's also zombies that you have to watch out for, and they'll attack you if you don't do something about it. In spite of the zombies being the main antagonist, the game is still pretty difficult in spite of them. I'm sure I've died fewer times to them than I have just by doing something stupid. The multiplayer is also super fun. You can either work with your friends to rise to the challenge, or you can all face off in a battle to see who can go longest without dying, which is pretty nerve-wracking because unless you have a really good health item, you're basically dead in one shot. Moving on to what's different, well, first things first, the graphics are obviously much better on the Switch's superior hardware. The models all have way more polygons and textures and are all much more detailed now. The lighting is a lot better than it was on the 3DS version, making the insides of the buildings feel a lot more abandoned and sometimes just straight up spooky. Surprisingly, the sound effects used for the zombies and weapons and such are the exact same as they were in the 3DS release. The animation for the zombies running at you is way more realistic in this one. It makes each time a zombie sees you, especially when you can't see it, turn into oh shit. You can't run while you're in buildings now, which is serviceable, but the option would have been nice at least. It's just too slow for me. Also, if a zombie comes into your room, it's much harder to turn around and take care of it when you move like you're on your way to file paperwork. Probably my biggest complaint is with the UI. It's not on a separate screen now and kind of reminds me of the Scribblenauts keyboards in the Mega Collection where everything is on a selection wheel. It's fine, but sometimes it doesn't work quite right, which can be a pain in a situation where you need to reach for something quickly. The multiplayer has native voice chat now, which is pretty nice since this in-game keyboard for text chat is my 13th reason. Alongside all this, we have DLC in this edition. All of it's strictly cosmetic, being just new skins for your character, and I think this is a good choice for a game like this. Options to buy newer and stronger weapons is really not my cup of tea in games. Unless it's Super Smash Bros. And that is about all I have to say about Ice Station Z on the Switch. There are a few things I changed, like the UI and making running in buildings an option, but overall it's a really decent port with some nice new features. And it's kinda hard to complain about such small details when you're talking about an indie game that is such a good deal. Which means that if I can do it, then I'm gifted. This game, 0 out of 10.